Hi, and welcome back to the Tobacco Use Prevention Education Program. Today we're going to be talking about peer pressure. We'll talk about exactly what that means, the different types, and how to have solid refusal skills so that you know how to handle it if you're feeling pressure to do something that you don't want to do. So what does peer mean? Well, a peer is somebody who is about the same age as you. So if your mom or an adult is pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do, that would not be peer pressure because that person would not be your peer. So again, somebody about the same age as you. And pressure means feeling like somebody really wants you to do something or some behavior. And oftentimes we think of peer pressure as being always negative, like somebody pressuring you to smoke, like in this cartoon here. But there actually are positive types of peer pressure, like a peer pressuring you to do your homework or to exercise or to eat healthy foods. So that would be positive peer pressure. Today, though, we're going to be looking at negative peer pressure and when someone is feeling pressure to do something that really could harm them. So there are 4 different types of peer pressure we're going to talk about today. The first is what we call direct pressure. And basically that's when somebody directly asks you to do something. So do you want to smoke this joint? Do you want to vape? Do you want to ditch school? That kind of thing. So they're directly talking to you. The second is what we call indirect pressure. And you might not really think about this as being peer pressure, but it can be just as effective as direct pressure. And that's where you feel like you should do something because everybody else is doing it, even if they're not asking you directly to do it. So maybe you're at a party and everyone's passing a vape around and they're all vaping except for you. So even though no one's asking you to do it or pressuring you with their words to do it, you might feel like you should do it because everybody else is. Or maybe everybody's dressing a certain way or you feel pressure to look a certain way because of everyone around you. So that would be indirect pressure. There's also what we call put down pressure, and that's essentially somebody insulting you, trying to get you to do something. So they might be calling you names. They might be, you're such a loser if you won't do this. Why are you so lame? What are you scared? They're putting you down. And the last one is what we call hassle pressure. And this is usually when you've already said no to something, but somebody keeps nagging you, they keep bugging you, they keep pressuring you to do it, and they won't let up. And in some ways, to me, this is the most dangerous type of pressure because you have already said or communicated that you don't want to do something, yet somebody is still pressuring you to do that. So that's a little bit of a red flag that this person is not respecting your boundaries. So let's look at some samples here and determine what type of pressure they would be examples of. Hey, Maria, want to vape with me? Well, this would be an example of direct pressure. Someone is talking directly to them and asking if they want to do it. It would even be a stronger example if it was, come on, Maria, let's go vape, right? So they're really feeling that pressure. All right, the second one. Hey, Maria, why won't you smoke a joint with me? Please, come on, just this once. Maria, come on. I'm not sure I want to be your friend if you won't smoke it with me. Okay, this is an example of hassling somebody. They keep pressuring them and trying different tactics to get them to do what they want. And remember what I said in the last slide, this can be potentially a red flag that somebody's not listening to your boundaries. At a party, Maria sees some of her friends smoking and thinks she should too. So this would be indirect pressure. Nobody's actually saying anything to her, but she feels pressure to do it by what's happening around her. Maria, you are such a dork. I can't believe you won't vape. That would be a put down, right? They're calling her a name and trying to make her feel badly that she won't do something so that she'll change her mind. So are there some different strategies you can use when faced with these peer pressure situations? And I should tell you that, honestly, people feel peer pressure their whole lives. It's not something that only happens when you're a teenager or a young adult. Even your parents feel pressure to do things at times. Grandparents feel pressure. So it can be really helpful to get solid on your refusal skills so that when you're in these situations, they're just automatic and you know how to handle them. So the first one is to just simply say no. If somebody asks you to do something, nope, not for me, no thanks, no. You don't have to give a big long explanation. You can say no and that's enough. It's also really helpful to have friends with similar values, similar goals as you. A value basically is just something that's really important to a person. So let's say you really want to get good grades, you want to go to college. It's going to be a lot easier to do those things if you surround yourself with friends who have similar plans. If you're not wanting to vape, not wanting to do drugs, but you're hanging out with people doing these things all the time, well, it's a lot harder to continuously say no and stay strong with what you believe in. It's much easier if you're around people who feel the same way. If somebody asks you to do something you don't want to, you can suggest something else, like, hey, you want to ditch school and go vape? No, but I would want to hang out with you. How about we go to the mall this weekend, or we hang out after school and play basketball? Okay, so you suggest a different strategy. And when we role play these peer pressure situations in class, oftentimes students will do things like, no, stay away from me, yelling and screaming at the person. But they're not really thinking in that situation that, okay, this is their friend. This is somebody that they're hanging out with. And so they probably wouldn't really take that approach. So you need to think through, like, okay, how am I going to say no to somebody who you might like and who you might want to be friends with? You can give a clear reason. Nope, I don't want to vape. I don't want to damage my lungs because sports are important to me. Or my mom would be super mad at me, or my dad would be super mad at me, so I don't want to do it. The important piece with this one is it doesn't really matter if they agree with your reason. If it's important to you, that's reason enough. You can use humor. No, I don't want to vape. I happen to like breathing. Some students find that easier than, just flat out saying no. And then the bottom line is to stand up for yourself. If somebody keeps pressuring you, it's a red flag that they're not respecting your boundaries, and so you just need to be really firm and perhaps not spend time with them anymore if they are continuously pressuring you to do things that you don't want to. So that's the end of the video this week. We have a little activity that we're going to do where your teacher hopefully sent you the link to the Google Drive, and you're going to be looking at 4 different situations where somebody is being pressured to do something that they don't want to. So for each of these situations, you're going to first identify whether that's direct, indirect, hassle, or put down pressure. And then you're going to give at least 3 examples of what this person can do, what sort of refusal skill they can use. And at the end of the document, I give you some examples in case you're not sure what they could say. You can look at that for inspiration and ideas. So please fill out this Google Doc and return it to your teacher, looking at these different situations. I also encourage you, if you haven't yet, to check out our YouTube channel, Everything You Need to Know Before Starting High School. You can just search that on YouTube and you should find us. And if you have a question you would like us to answer on a future episode, you can go ahead and email us. And the email is on the bottom of each video. And we would love to answer your questions. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you next week.